first of all, my name's Jay Ashlock, one of the counselors here for R through Z. You see the list of our other folks up here who will also be assisting us this year in the counseling department. Like Mrs. Bilia said, we're really happy to have Mr. Moore on board with us. He's been basically doing this exact same thing at the college for the last several years. So we're stoked about having him on our team. And also a new person as well, Ms. Barbosa. So if you need anything in terms of transcripts sent, she's your guy, and she'll be more than happy to take care of that in that capacity. So real quick, this is one of the most important things we'll do all morning. Sign up for senior information for our Remind 101. And so whichever one you sign up for depends on who your counselor is. Okay? So obviously, if your last name is R through Z, you're going to sign up for mine, which is the second to the last, or second from the right. Okay? So you want to text that code to the number there, which is 81010, depending on what your last name. And then on the back of that, we need everybody to sign up, because here's the thing, we send out scholarship information, we send out SAT, ACT date reminders, we send out, hey, just some individual message, like, hey, I need to see you about signing up for NAI, so I need to come to my office, that kind of stuff, okay? And that's the best way for us to communicate with you, okay? And then you can text back to us, you can reply back to us, answer questions, whatever it is we need. Sometimes we'll send like a list of just announcements that you need to be aware of, okay? So make sure you sign up for this. Also, on the back side of this paper that Mr. Moore just handed out is our You Can Book Me. Okay? If you don't hear anything we say this morning, I need you to hear this. We want to meet with every single one of you individually, because these are great. We can get out a lot of information in a short period of time, but this only works is if we have another conversation with you individually, one-on-one, so that we can customize our talk with your plans, okay? So, again, especially for those of you who are in the top 50, or top 75, or top 100 of your class, you got to get on this because we really need to meet, so make sure you sign up for You Can Book Me. That'll basically give you access to our calendars. You can pick a time slot that's best for you. So if you leave early, you leave after fifth period or whatever, that's probably the best time, as long as you're not going straight to work or somewhere. Make sure you sign up to come see us. It's only like a 30-minute slot. We go over some real quick stuff, and all it is to see how we can help you. But the whole goal of this is to give you enough information so you can take the next step as to whatever that looks like for you with college. And when I say college, I'm not just talking about 4-year degrees. Because some people are like, man, I can't imagine staying in school for another 4 years, and that's fine. We need guys with technical certificates. We need people with diplomas. We need people with associates. One is not necessarily better than the other. How long you stay in school doesn't really matter. What matters is that you find something that you're interested in, something that you're passionate about. Okay? Because you can make money at all of them. You know, Mr. Moore gave a great example last period. He's got a buddy, or actually his brother, who didn't go to college, but he went to lineman school. You know what a lineman is? Guys in the buckets working on the power lines and stuff. He's making double or triple what we're making now. Okay? And he went to school for like 6 months. Alright? We've been in school for 5, 6, 7 years. Okay? So again, length doesn't matter. The thing that matters is you find what you're interested in, what you're passionate about. Okay? And that's what we're here to help. Alright, so real quick, everybody's got 4 options. Alright? Everybody's got the same 4 options. The only thing that's not up there is maybe hanging out on your mom's couch eating honey buns or something, and I'm not real sure how long your parents are going to allow you to do that after graduation. Okay? So we're going to spend most of our time talking about how to get into school through the admissions process and do all this stuff in a timely manner. Okay? Alright, who knows who this lady right here is? Peppermint Patty? Yeah. Alright, so Patty is our admissions spokesperson here. So that's an acronym: Plan, Apply, Test Scores, Transcripts, and Incidentals. This is all things that you pretty much are general for the admissions process, okay? So you got to do all these things depending on whether you're going to Dalton State, whether you're going to UGA, whether you're going to GNTC, it doesn't matter. All this stuff, for the most part, is the same, okay? It differs a little bit when we get into some essays and recommendations and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, that's kind of an overview of what we got to do. So in the planning process, hopefully the planning process kind of started your junior year. And probably some of you are still in the planning process. We encourage everybody to try to pick at least 3 schools that you're serious about. 3 schools that you want to apply. 3 schools that you're really interested in. First one is obviously your first choice. The second option that we call is the next best thing. And the third option is like, hey, I got to go somewhere. Okay? And maybe that's somewhere. I can't see myself going there for 4 years, but maybe I can go there for 2 years and transfer out, wherever that is. Okay? The next thing, GeorgiaFutures.org. This is a great place to go. They've got some like college search engines. It'll ask you some questions. Hey, do you want to live at the beach? Do you want to be in an urban setting? Do you want to go to a big school, a small school? Do you want to be far away from your parents? Gives you all different types of search engines, and then it'll give you a list of the options based upon how you answered the search engine. Okay? That's a good tool. And also, Mr. Morris said it last period, there's not a better substitute for actually getting on campus and seeing these schools. Putting your feet on college campus, eating their food, going on a tour, meeting people, going up for a game on the weekends, wherever it's at, to see do people stay here on the weekends, do they go home, what are the professors like. This is the best way to find out if you really are digging the school that you think you are. Also, school sponsor tours. Mr. Moore is also in the process of planning some college trips. So everybody here has 3 college days. They're kind of like 3 personal days that you can take as high school seniors. These are days you want to take maybe with your family, with a friend, and you go off and you have to turn in a form ahead of time to get it approved. You'll have all your teachers sign off on it, and you do it about a week before you plan on going. And then they'll come, you'll turn it in the front office, and then you'll go on your trip, and you have to bring something back from the admissions office on letterhead saying, yeah, you were there. You weren't just hanging out in the mall all day. But seriously, use your 3 trips wisely, okay? And we're going to give you a list of places that we want to go as a school so you can so you don't have to use all 3 of your trips for those same days. Something else we want to point out, fall visitation days. This is also another great time. So if you'll look up, if you're interested in going to North Georgia, to Dahlonega, so Google North Georgia, go to their website, click on admissions, click on visitation, and then every school will have fall visitation days on Saturdays. It's free. You just got to RSVP for you. Say you and a buddy or you and your mom or somebody want to show up. They'll usually feed you. They'll give you a tour. You get to talk to people. They'll give you information about how much it costs to go there. And they'll also tell you about how hard or easy it is to get in that institution. Those are great times that you need to go ahead and be planning and put it on your calendar so that you can be getting some information that way. All right, so the admissions process. Now we talked about plan, apply, all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff is the same. But every school may have requirements in terms of how they want you to apply. Okay? We see up here, some schools will use the Common App, some the Coalition, some Send.edu. Every school is different. Okay? Dalton State, and we always use Dalton State as an example because a big majority of our kids go to Dalton State. So Dalton State uses Georgia Futures. All of you have an account for Georgia Futures. If you don't remember the password, just come see us. Also, Mr. Moore will be able to get you back in if you've lost that. Application fee. This is something that can get really expensive real quick. Application fees are going to range anywhere from $25 to $75 depending on the school. Okay, so we're going to have an actually apply to college day November 14th. So if you're thinking about doing UGA, early action or something, we'll go into that a little later. Don't wait till the 14th because, hey, our apply college is on the 14th. Go ahead and take care of that deadline. But on the 14th, we will have some colleges here. They may or may not waive their application fee. If they do waive their application fee, you want to take advantage of that if that's a school you're interested in. Because you can save a lot of money, because if you end up applying to 3 or 4 different schools at $30 to $50 a pop, that gets really expensive. All right, regular decision versus early action and early decision. What is the difference in early action and early decision? What you got? Yes. Did you guys hear what she said? No. All right. So regular decision. Regular decision is, hey, we got a deadline. It's going to be in January. This is when we want everybody to have all their stuff in by. Okay? It's pretty self-explanatory. Early action. UGA and Georgia Tech does what's called early action. It's October 15th, and it's based on more of test scores, GPA, and rigor. It's kind of black and white, okay? And if you apply to early action, you can get accepted, you can get denied, or you can get deferred, okay? And a lot of students, if they need more of a holistic perspective for admission, bless you, so saying, hey, I got pretty good rigor, I got a solid GPA, my test scores, they're not horrible, but they're not as good as I think they could be, then you may want to wait and be evaluated on more of a holistic perspective, like maybe you got a family situation going on, or maybe you've done a lot of work in the community because you're super passionate about some kind of area in your life, then you want to wait and do regular decision for like a UGA or Georgia Tech kind of thing. But if you look really good on paper with GPA, test scores, and rigor, then early action may be your thing, okay? Now here's where early decision pops in. Early decision, some schools will have that. UGA, Georgia Tech doesn't really, but some schools, you see this a lot in private schools, early decision is a binding agreement, okay? It means if you apply to a school for early decision, this is not early action, okay? Early decision, it means, and you get accepted, that means that's where you're going to go. It's not, hey, I'm going to kind of figure out what other kind of looks I get, see if I get a better offer. No. If you apply to a school that says early decision, then and you get accepted, that's where you're going. Okay? It's a binding, legal binding contract. Okay? It's very important. You see this a lot in private stuff. You don't see this a whole lot in most of our public institutions. Okay? Is that clear? Everybody good with that? All right. And get to know the deadlines. So the first thing you do when you see a school you like, go to the admissions requirements and see when the deadlines are. And then I would make a list somewhere, either in your phone or on a calendar or something, but know those dates. All right. So the admissions process. Test scores, SAT, ACT. We're going to be passing out some dates that's got the SAT and ACT both listed. It's really, really important when you guys create your account on College Board. Make sure the name that you put your College Board account in is your legal name. And it matches exactly what's on your driver's license. Because when you show up to take a test, if the names don't match, they won't let you in. Even though if you're taking it here, it's one of our teachers working the door, they cannot let you in if the names don't match. Okay? So make sure, if you created your name, you just gave some kind of fake play name or something, or nickname for College Board, you want to go back and change that before you actually go take the test. Just general admissions tests that they use are going to be SAT, ACT. We don't really push our kids to take one more than the other. They're both good tests. Neither of them are fun. So what I would encourage everybody to do, take both of them your junior year, figure out which one you do better in or like better than the other, and take that several times your senior year. Okay? Notice on these test dates that are going around, so if you're applying early action for UGA, Georgia Tech, which is October, you can't plan on taking a March SAT. That's not going to help you because your deadline's in October. Okay? So UGA and Georgia Tech both said they will take the October test date. Okay? So if you sign up for take the October test, you want to put on there and have them list, because they'll send your score report, your SAT or ACT scores, up to 4 schools for free. You're crazy if you don't take advantage of that, because if you don't use that, then you have to go back and pay $12 for every school you want to send them. And we can't list your SAT or ACT scores. That is a big problem, because it's not our scores, it's your scores. I can't send your stuff off without your permission, okay? And on the college side is not going to take an SAT or ACT score report from me. They want it from the testing company. So you have to request College Board or ACT to send those. Does that make sense? AccuPlacer, you see that a lot at like some technical schools. We talked about school report. Khan Academy. If you will spend some time on Khan Academy, I promise you, your scores will go up. And they may go up a little. We've had some guys that went over 100 points on one section, okay? But if you spend some serious time on Khan Academy, and it's free, all right? There's a lot of other resources to use for testing. I would encourage everybody here, you need to prep for these tests in some way. Whether it's Khan Academy, Coach Wicks does a class at Champions that they're getting geared up for. Sign-ups are going through out now. Once you guys all sign up for our Remind 101, we'll push that stuff out. But you need to make sure, it's kind of like working out or anything else or exercising. It's about getting reps in, okay? The more reps you get, the better you get. Because these tests, keep in mind, these tests don't tell how smart you are. They don't measure intelligence. It's not an IQ test. These tests measure how well you play the game of testing, okay? And they're supposed to be a predictor of how well you'll do in college. I would argue that I don't think that they measure as much stuff as they say they measure, okay? They don't measure grit. They don't measure perseverance. They don't measure any of the human elements like that, okay? But for most schools, they're still a big deal. All right, so we need to put our best foot forward and be prepared for those. Super score, that's basically where if I took the August SAT and I took the October SAT, and let's say I did good or I did better on the August SAT with my math, and I like my reading score better on October, I can take the best of both of those and match them up. That's a super score. Most schools will super score. That's getting to be pretty common. All right, we talked about transcripts. Again, it's your job or your responsibility to send your transcripts. I can't send your transcript somewhere, okay? It's not my information, it's yours. Legally, it's yours. So, what you need to do, so she's going to Union College. She needs to come to Ms. Barbosa and request from her to send her transcripts to Union College. Okay? She'll actually have to do it twice. One, for admissions to be accepted. And then she'll have to actually do it again in June to send a final transcript. But right now, all we need to be worried about is the first one. Okay? First transcript, sent the initial application, we talked about that. So unofficial transcript. All of you guys have access to the exact same transcript that we send on Infinite Campus under Student Portal. Okay? And so instead of coming up to the counseling office and having to pay $3 for a transcript, just log on to yours, Student Portal, and you can see your GPA, you can see your class rank, you can see all that stuff. If you have any questions, you let us know. Okay? That's for an unofficial transcript. If you want one sent to a college, you need to see Ms. Barbosa so she can send that. Incidentals. What are incidentals? That's like extra stuff. Okay? Extra stuff, so like when you apply to Dalton State, or really any school in the state of Georgia, you're going to need to send shot records. So it's immunization form. They want to make sure you're up to date on your immunizations. They want to see stuff like residency verification, whether it's a driver's license or a passport, a birth certificate, something like that. These are all extra stuff that you need to turn in. Your admissions file won't be complete until you have all of this stuff in. So don't think, well, I've sent in an application, I got my application fee paid for, they got my transcripts and test scores, that's all they need. This incidentals, you will not be officially accepted until they have all this stuff completed, okay? So if you need to make a list, keep track of everything you need to send, make sure you do that. Essays. Essays are, some schools want to see an essay from you guys, like a writing sample or something. Some schools may not care. Every school's different, okay? So you just kind of have to go through the admissions requirements to see who wants essays and who doesn't. Here's an update list on college visits. That's not the actual date. You notice that would be last year for UTC and Chattanooga. Mr. Moore, he's going to head up all of our college visits. All these other dates, feel free to write this down, take a picture of that. He's going to find more dates for UTC in North Georgia and probably West Georgia as well. But these other dates, we'll try to announce those through Remind 101, and we'll be probably on the intercom at lunch, giving those out as well. So every school has a freshman profile, or the majority of really competitive schools have a freshman profile. And we show you this because we want to be as transparent and as real as possible. We want to take out all the guesswork when it comes to applying. Okay? Because you hear all these, nobody can get into school X, or I've heard really, it's really hard to get into school Y. And those things a lot of times aren't true. Okay? Now what you have to keep in mind, everybody look at Georgia Tech over here on the right. SAT. This says between 1,400 and 1,520 for the SAT. Okay? First of all, what you need to know is this is math and verbal, or math and reading. Okay, so that's a combined score. You also need to know these are not minimums. I'll say that again. These are not minimums. This is not like what you got to have to get in. This is what the average Joe has at Georgia Tech. So this is like the middle of the road kind of kid. 50% of your kids at Georgia Tech look like this on paper. Between a 31 and 34 on ACT. They've taken at least, I don't see it on here for Georgia. Maybe we got the wrong Georgia thing on there, but like on Georgia and Georgia Tech both, they've taken somewhere between 7 and 10 AP/IB/dual enrollment courses. Okay? So that's the type of rigor that they've had. All their GPAs are somewhere around the 4.0, a little bit higher. Here's an ethnic breakdown in terms of demographics. That's kind of what you're looking at. Now, these are the two most competitive schools in the state of Georgia. Probably. Okay? So, again, kind of use that as some guardrails to figure out where you're looking at. All right, Pro College Fair, September 28th. Everybody needs to write this date down. September 28th. There's going to be over 70 colleges at Dalton State College. This is, we're going to take some buses over there. We've got a time slot, which is 9:30. So we'll have permission slips and stuff here. This is a great time to get in front of a college admissions recruiter. And guys, these aren't just people from Georgia. This is people from all over the Southeast and even some throughout the country. But you'll want to go to this website to pre-register. You put all your information in this pre-register. You can scan a little barcode thing that the college reps will have. And it's a way you can exchange your email and address, and they can mail you a bunch of stuff and information about their school instead of having to fill out 50 different interest letters. Okay, but this is a great time to go and get in front of people and get some face time and ask questions about their institution. Because guys, you have to approach this. Here's what I want you to realize: you got to approach this as a consumer. Okay? So when I go out, if I'm buying a pair of shoes or whatever it is, We got to see what's going to fit. I got to see something I can afford. I want to see something I'm comfortable in. I want to see something that will do the job. Right? You got to approach this college game the exact same way. Okay? Because you're buying into something. Believe me, you're going to be spending lots of money, regardless of how much hope, scholarship you have or don't have. Apply to College Day, November 14th. This is basically a way that we can encourage high school seniors to apply somewhere. Okay? And it's our goal. We want everybody in our senior class, this senior class, to apply for a school somewhere. Okay? Even if you have it in your mind, you know what, I'm not going straight to college. I don't even think I want to go to college. Apply anyways. Okay? Worst thing that happens is you don't go. That's fine. But a year from now, or 2 years from now, you may change your mind, and now you'll know what to do. Or 6 months from now, you may change your mind and say, now I am interested in it. Oh, I remember I've already applied to GNTC. My stuff is still active. They'll go ahead and take me. That's why that's a big deal. We'll have some folks here on that day to help you. Here's just some differences between SAT and ACT. As far as time goes, they're about the same test without the essay. They cover some different stuff. The scoring is very different. 36 a high score on ACT, 1600 high score on the SAT. All right, financial aid. This is basically kind of a fancy word for how am I going to pay for school, okay? And so we've got several things here. The most important thing you need to know is the FASFA. That's a free application for federal student aid. Notice the emphasis on free. You should not have to pay for the FASFA. Okay? So, make sure that you go to, and there's several FASFA websites that will charge you. You want to go to the FASFA.gov. Okay? That's how you know that's the free one that you don't have to pay for. Okay? Plus, there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of people that want to make money off of you guys, your parents, people that are asking for help, and you're turning over a lot of personal information, Social Security numbers, how much money your family makes, and all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure you're doing this on a secure site, so make sure you go to FASFA.gov. You can fill that out as early as October 1st, all the way through, I think, January, February is probably, after February or March, the window gets smaller, and kind of picture it as a pot of money. Okay? You want to put your hand in there before all the money's gone, right? And a lot of schools will have deadlines of when the last day they will even accept the FAFSA. So again, that's a day that we'll actually have a financial aid day here. And we'll help you fill out the FAFSA. And we'll ask that you bring all of your tax stuff, your parents' tax information like W-2s and that kind of stuff here. We'll have people here, financial aid officers here to help you. And we'll help you fill all that stuff out. Okay? But the reason you want to fill out the FAFSA is because that determines HOPE eligibility. That determines Pell Grant. Who knows what Pell Grant is? Holler it out. What's Pell Grant?
When your parents don't make a certain salary or anything?
Yeah. So it's need-based. So that's one reason you want to fill out the FAFSA. You think, well, my parents got a pretty decent job. They're doing all right. I don't think we're gonna qualify. It doesn't matter. Fill it out anyway. You may surprise yourself. That's also how you will get a work study, which is like a job on campus that will also help pay for your tuition. But the Pell Grant, you can get up to $5,000 a year for Pell Grant. That's free money from the government. Okay? So we have kids that are going to schools, very inexpensive schools like Dalton State, and they're going for free. Not only are they going for free between Hope Scholarship and Pell Grant, they're making money. We had a kid last year who is now this year is making over $1,000 each semester. So the government is paying him to go to college. Okay? You've got several kids in that same boat. Now, that's totally different. If you go off to school like UGA, where you're having to pay for housing, you're having to pay for room and board, meal plan, that kind of stuff. We've got kids on Hope and even Zell Miller, which is full Hope. They're still paying $13,000 to $14,000 a year just to eat and live on campus. Okay? So it's all about where you go. It's all about what kind of package you have financially, A to B. Okay? Federal loans, grants, we talked a little bit about that. Hope, and of course, real quick, for Hope, people are saying, hey, I don't know what kind of Hope GPA I have. Well, you can go on Infinite Campus. When you look at your transcript on Infinite Campus, the GPA that you see there is a cumulative GPA. That is not your Hope GPA. So don't see that and says, oh, I got a 3.2, so I'm good, I got Hope. Not necessarily, because that's counting all the weight trainings, that's counting all the cores, it's counting every elective that you took. Hope doesn't count any of that stuff. Hope is only an academic GPA. So in January, we'll get a Hope preliminary GPA for y'all. So you come see your counselor, we'll give you your Hope GPA, and I mean, it's kind of an easy way. You can look at your transcript now. If you've ever made a C, for every C in an academic class that you've had, you got to make an A in an academic class to balance that out. B's don't help you, B's don't hurt you. Every time you make a C, you need to make an A. If you make an F, you're going to need to make several A's for that. Okay? That just kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like. Remember, Zale is full Hope. Hope right now will pay for about 75 to 80% of your tuition. Zale will pay for 100% of your tuition, but you have to have a higher GPA and a certain test score on the SAT or ACT to get Zale. Okay? All right, School Pacific websites. All of these are just some good websites. Just go to the website, you'll fill in some information about yourself, and a lot of these sites will send you scholarships that you might be eligible for. Okay? Real quick tip, do not ever, ever, ever pay anybody to find you scholarship money. Okay? And yes, you think, man, that sounds stupid. Nobody would do that. We have people that get taken advantage of every single year. So do not pay anybody to find you scholarships. Okay? It's kind of like looking for Easter eggs. You just got to get out there and you got to hunt. Okay? The last one is one I want to point everybody to. Miss Gallman heads up our scholarships. Okay, so she's like the scholarship queen here at Dalton High School. She keeps up with our scholarship website on the Dalton High School Counseling webpage. These are all local monies from local business and industries and foundations that want to give our kids money for college. Okay, specifically like Dalton High School students. So that needs to be your first choice. The first place you look is the Dalton High School website. And she's putting them on there now, and she'll be putting them all the way on there through probably April. Okay? And there's small ones from like $200 to big ones to like $5,000 or $6,000. Okay? Those are all local stuff. So there's local money like that. Then there's national monies that comes from these places. Then there's also institutional monies that you'll also apply for when you apply to school. Okay? But we'll also have a separate financial aid night. We'll go into a lot deeper with this stuff in January when we have a financial aid night, and it'll be a little more on your radar than it is now. For anybody who gets accepted into college, or anybody that has committed to go to the military, we want you to bring that acceptance letter to us, and we'll give you a cord that you can wear for graduation night. Okay? And the cord is like a college acceptance cord. We'll take a picture. We're going to advertise it somewhere saying, hey, these are all our cats in college and serving our country in the military. So make sure when you get that acceptance letter, and preferably, so some of you guys will apply to 8 different schools and you'll get in 8 different schools. We only really want the one acceptance letter of the place that you really intend to go to. Okay? All right, NCAA and NAI, if any of you guys are student athletes, I help our school with the NCAA and NAI. So I'm your guy. You book an appointment with me. But basically, this is where you have to prove your amateur status if you want to be a student athlete at the next level. Okay? So there's usually a registration fee, about $80, depending on whether it's NAI or NCAA. Does everybody know the difference between NAI? So NAI would be like Dalton State. Versus NCAA would be Kennesaw State, UGA, Georgia Southern, stuff like that. Okay? But there's different requirements that you have to meet. So for example, Division 1 and Division 2 requirements are much different than NAI. We're not going to go into a lot of those details now, but the biggest thing now is when you're going into your senior year, you need to have already registered for the NCAA or NAI. If you're getting looks, this helps in the recruiting process. Before you can go on an official visit for the NCAA, you need to make sure that you've applied for there as well and been through the clearinghouse. Okay, you can see me and I'll be more than happy to help you with that. All right, May 24th, guys, it'll be here before you know it. Okay, so a couple things. One, all this information we've given you, we want you to be prepared. We want everybody to actually make it to May 24th, so don't do anything stupid. Make sure you're getting our reminds and stuff that you signed up for, so we can send information out like from Jostens to SAT days, to college stuff, scholarships. All that communication will be done through Remind 101. So make sure you signed up for that.